Crossroads continues here on Channel 13. A pleasure having you along for the show. As you know, phones are always open. 558-8839. No one else in local TV gives you that as well as giving you that unique look at the good news from around Western New York. I'm Pete Anderson. Still ahead, Culture Craze is back with a new ticket package just released on March 1st as 9 area cultural organizations team together and offer you some different looks tailored to yours or your family's needs. Whatever you want to see, Culture Craze can probably fit the bill for you. We'll talk about what they're offering in just a few moments. As we continue right now, taking a look at an exciting and innovative new group that's working in the Queen City to promote, preserve, and definitely reinvigorate heritage. It's Broadway Fillmore Alive, bringing back to life a historic East Side neighborhood in the hopes of marketing it as an attraction that people will come to. There's a lot happening in the neighborhood. We're talking about Broadway Fillmore Alive, the organization, and its mission here on Crossroads this afternoon, and we do encourage your input. I'm lucky enough to be joined here on the Channel 13 set by one of the co-founders of Broadway Fillmore Alive. Mr. Chris Bird is here on Crossroads this afternoon. Chris, a pleasure to see you.
Well, thank you for having me on.
We got to speak briefly during the break, and I mentioned to you that people like to hear about organizations like Broadway Fillmore Alive. Committed, concerned citizens getting together, doing something about the neighborhood, promoting the area, and essentially doing what you're doing. Talk about the organization itself.
Sure. Yeah. I grew up on the East Side, around the Broadway Market area. My grandmother still lives in the Broadway Fillmore area, and about 3 years ago, and this is how I got involved on the East Side, going back to my old neighborhood. I was on the Broadway Market's website, and I had noticed, you know, this website hasn't been updated in 2 or 3 years. It had old information on there. So out of the blue, and I do a little website development on the side, I contacted the director of the Broadway Market, and I said, listen, you know, your website looks like whatever.
Yeah.
And
fill in.
Yeah, fill in the blank. And, you know, I would be willing to, you know, work with it, get it up to snuff, and bring it into this century.
Yes.
So we met, and I put together a new Broadway Market website, and from that point on, I work with the market, do a lot of different things for them on the side, and help them out because I just love going to the Broadway Market, and it was a big part of my youth, a big part of where I grew up. But through that, I started seeing the East Side in a different light. I looked at everything that was going on there. Like, we have the Central Terminal.
Yeah.
Is part of the Broadway Fillmore area. You have all the historic churches on the East Side. You've got St. Stanislaus, you know, the Mother Church of Polonia. You've got Corpus Christi Church. You've got St. Adalbert's, St. John Canty's. And there was a lot of different groups and organizations that are doing a lot of different positive things in the area. But it seemed to me, at least, and one of the reasons we got the group together is that there was no synergy between the groups as a way to work collectively to promote the area as a whole. So I had bantered about an idea with a few different people about, you know, we should really get a group together that strives to promote the area more as a whole, as opposed to, you know, the Central Terminal doing their own thing or the Broadway Market doing their own thing. So over the summer, I went to, it was called Restore Buffalo. It was an event at the Central Terminal that hosted a number of different Buffalo not-for-profit organizations and activist groups as a way so they could all network a little. I met a gentleman who is on the Central Terminal Restoration Corporation Board, Michael Miller, who's one of the co-founders of our group. And, you know, I sat down and I was just talking to him, going, you know, listen, you know, this area, you know, we're doing our own thing here. And he brought up, it was the best point somebody made to me about these. He goes, you know, I come here and I work at the Central Terminal and I'm really devoted to helping this place. But I drive down Broadway and I see other things are going on, and I go, you know, there's got to be more I can do. And, you know, it doesn't matter if the Central Terminal's fixed. It's that there's other things that can be done in the area. So we started talking a little bit. We then met another woman, Michelle, who was supposed to be here with me today. Michelle, I hope you're feeling better.
She sadly fell ill. Yes.
Sadly fell ill. We met her, and she's an East Side housing activist. She works for Judge Nowak in Housing Court. And she's really in tune with the housing issues in the Broadway Fillmore area. We got talking to her about, you know, possibly putting this group together. And what we decided to do was to first, you know, we had a little organizational meeting, talk about what we individually wanted to see Broadway Fillmore become. Me, I have deep ancestral roots in the area. I mean, that's where I grew up. Michelle Johnson has lived in the area, and Michael Miller has family that grew up in the area. And we decided to put together initially a website, and what we like to call it, and what I'm beginning to call it, I should say, it's a daily magazine of sorts that features news, information, events, and a whole, really a wide range of different types of things happening in the Broadway Fillmore area on a daily basis. We have events from, like, let's say, the churches in the area, what's going on at the Broadway Market, what's going on at the Central Terminal, a way for people, a website where people can go to and find everything they want to know about the Broadway Fillmore area. And that's our first step in a way to promote the positive things happening. Because I think a lot of times you think of Broadway Fillmore or the East Side, and there's, the perception is negative.
What are the challenges that you're working against with Broadway Fillmore Live?
Well, I think the biggest challenge would be to change people's perception. One of the most interesting things we're going to try to do this summer, and we're going to actually start it with Dingus Day, which is, that's Broadway Fillmore has Broadway Fillmore written all over it.
Got it. Yes.
We're going to start a series of Alive Nights, what we're going to call them, in the area. And invite people to come into the area, go to a bar in the area. We're going to host them at different places inside of the Broadway Fillmore area, starting with Dingus Day, because that's one of the biggest nights in Polonia, and we figured we'd tag on with that, and bring people that might have the bad perception of the area, but this might be something that might push them more. Hey, let's go down to Broadway and Fillmore, and we've heard about this Dingus Day thing. It's supposed to be
it's a phenomenon. It's a Buffalo phenomenon.
It's a Buffalo phenomenon, and I contacted Marty Binias, and I don't know if you know who he is, but he started an actual push to really market Dingus Day on a national level to bring people in. And I actually, my last conversation with him, he's actually, I believe NPR is going to be touring Dingus Day with him.
Dingus Day.
Yeah, and I was thinking, Marty, you got to make sure that, if you're going to take him on a tour, make sure he remembers the tour after Dingus Day is over. But so we've got Marty Binias in our little loop now.
It's not a crazy idea. I mean, people might be thinking, Dingus Day, come on, who would want to know about that? But it highlights ethnicity, it highlights Buffalo heritage. It's really a good idea.
And it's a way to draw attention to the Broadway Fillmore area and let people see that, listen, it's not just there 2 weeks before Easter, when everybody flocks to the Broadway Market. We're trying to expand it so people will see that there's wonderful things to do there, or things to take people to from out of town. We've already got a lot of other assets in the city. We've got the Elmwood corridor, which is absolutely wonderful, and we're going to try to draw that type of interest to the Broadway Fillmore.
What's the vision? When Broadway Fillmore Alive is really up and running, a very strong, vibrant organization in the coming years, what's the vision for the neighborhood in coming years?
What we want to do, and one of the first things we're working on, we're partnering up with a number of different, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, and create an organization that's going to, storm into the area and try to change everything. There's enough community organizations and assets inside of the neighborhood that we figure we should partner up with these people and help what they're trying to do. Recently we attended, it's called the East Side Good Neighbor Planning Alliance meeting, where they're rethinking how they're going to redevelop the Broadway Fillmore area or the East Side in general. So we're going to help them promote their efforts and bring more attention to the positive things that are going on. What we envision, and our first project that we've undertaken is, we used to call it the Sears Building at Broadway and Fillmore. Now it's, from doing research on the building, it's called the Eckhart Building. Used to be a department store locally called Eckhart's. The family that owns this building, which it was amazing to me. I would have think the building had changed hands 10 to 15 times, considering the age of the area. But the family's owned the building since the early 20th century, had owned the land, and the building that's currently on the area has been vacant for a couple of years. It used to house a Sears store and a number of different entities over time. But what we wanted to do is we contacted the owners and said, why isn't there any movement on this building? What can we do to help you? 2 weekends ago, we went and we actually toured the building. The building is in wonderful shape. The owners of the building love the building. They just don't want to. I think they've had some offers to turn it into, like sell the land off so they can put a drugstore or something,
Mm-hmm.
But the building it's a beautiful building. We toured the building; it's in great shape. So now we're helping to start market the building because we want to see retail or something in that area. And that's instead of like I said, instead of going ballistic and trying to do all these things at once, we're going to take pet projects here and there and really put all of our energies and our talents behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, by the next time I talk to you,
yes,
there will be somebody in the building. So.
We like to hear that.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about the collaboration, people getting together. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about Culture Craze with major culturals getting together.
Right.
You've got Corpus Christi Church with Father Anselm. You've got Sister Jonas with Response to Love. You've got Dick Franzak at the Broadway Market, Russ Pavlak at the Central Terminal. Committed, active people willing to roll up their sleeves and make the neighborhood more vibrant. That is key.
No, that is key. And what I think, and it goes back to what we're saying, you have like Sister Jonas. I mean, and here just for myself, once I got involved with the market, I go, well, there's got to be more I can do around the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm involved with Sister Jonas and the Response to Love Center, and like I said, there's just positive stories and wonderful things happening every day. One of the features we have on our website during the Lenten season is we're podcasting a Lent Mass from each one of the parishes in the neighborhood. We just started this Sunday with Corpus Christi.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to probably do St. Stanislaus this Sunday, so people can go to our website and get a little feel for the area and what goes on. And Lent is it's a very sacred time,
mm-hmm.
and especially in Polonia, and that's one of the most religious times of the year. So.
Podcasting Lenten Masses from some of the most historic parishes in Buffalo.
Right.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Exactly. It's wonderful. And just things with the Broadway Market. The Broadway Market during the Easter season has a webcam up now. And so, there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have lived in Western Europe that have moved out of
mm-hmm.
town over the years. But, people can go in and see what's going on at the Broadway Market. And those are the type of things that are going to draw more attention to the area.
We're going to have to wrap with that, Chris. If people want to find out more about Broadway Fillmore Alive, can they visit you online?
Oh, yeah. It's BroadwayFillmoreAlive.org. And please visit the website. It's wonderful, and there's good news. We've got a lot of events and everything about the Broadway film area going on.
Good stuff is happening in the city. Chris Bird, pleasure having you on the
thank
program.
you for having us on.
And we'll see you again.
Okay, thank you.
Broadway Fillmore Alive here. Good things do happen in the city, and you'll certainly find out about them here on Crossroads at Channel 13. We continue with our collaboration theme in just a few moments as we talk about Culture Craze and how 9 cultural organizations are getting together and reaching out to Western New York adults and families. It's ahead on Crossroads.